Hi everyone, in this video we'll be looking at the finance module of Fedena. So here under finance, once the fee is completed, let's move to the other options available. So let's begin with the finance report. Under finance report, we have something called transaction report. This transaction report would give us a report of the transaction that has happened in Fedena for a time duration. Let me choose a time duration in Fedena. So here I'm choosing a time duration and I'm going to view the report. Now you can have a look at the report which shows the donations, the student fee and another income. And apart from this, the expenses are displayed below, which shows the salary and another expense that I've added. So now by going below, you can see a graphical representation that shows the various expenses and income that the institution has made. You can take a PDF report or a CSV report of this. Apart from which you can select each of these incomes to have a better idea about the net income and the date in which the income was made and the person who have done the income. This is going to be a donation, so it shows the details of the donations. By going back, you can go for the salary and you can go have a look at the salary that is paid for each of these students. Now going back to the transaction report, so this is how the transaction report will look like. And looking into the transaction report, there is various categories. Now the question is, where are these categories derived from? They are derived from these categories option, where you can find there are few categories that is built in Fedena. Apart from which, there are few other categories that you can manually create. These are categories that might not be there in Fedena, but you might need them. So we provide you the option to create your own category by going for create finance category. Here you need to enter the name of the category, the description, and if it's an income, you need to enable this. And if it's not an income, you can uncheck this and save. This way I've created few categories. I've created a category called book for students, and this is going to be income for the institution, so I've enabled the option. Whereas another category that I have created is an expense, so I have not enabled this option. So this way you can create various categories. On creating these categories, you can add transaction to your instance. So the transaction can be expenses or income. So to add expenses, you can go for add expense and you can add an expense here by entering a title for it, enter an amount here, select one of these categories and save it. So now the expense is added. The same way you're going to do the income under the transaction option for incomes. You can have a look at your expenses income by going for this option and selecting a time duration, and you can view the expense and income in this time duration. Moving back, we have the donations options where we get to add the donations that is happening in the institution. So we can add donation by going for add donation, where you're going to enter the donor's name. So let me enter the donor's name, a description and an amount. And additional field that I'm going to fill in is the contact number of the donor. And once I've filled in, I can add it. So now I can take a receipt of it and share it with the donor. Now going back to the donation, there is something called additional field. Apart from the fields that is available in case if the admin wants to add few more fields that is not part of the Fedena donation option, you can add such fields by typing the field and selecting the input method. One such field that I've created is the account. One such field that I've created is the contact number, and I've given the input method to be text box. So you can add this text box which is found in the donations, and every time when a donor is added, contact number is also added in case if it's made mandatory. And we can also track all the donation that has happened at time duration by selecting a start time and end time, and you can search. Below you will find the various donations that is happening. So the next thing that we have here is the employee payslip management. So under employee payslip management, we are aware that the employee payslip has been generated under the human resource module, and an employee payslip that has been generated needs to be approved by the finance person. So for the approval, the employee payslip can be viewed here to be approved here. So here you can see the payslip for the month of February, and by selecting it, you get to see the approved and the pending payslip. You can view all the payslip by going for view payslip, and by going for this option, you can see the different employees and their status. You can view each of these payslip, you can approve or reject them. You can take a PDF report of it and go to the next procedure. Now going back to the payslip approval process, the next thing that we have here is the payslips for payroll groups. So we have in specific for a payroll group. So there is a particular payroll group under which we have various employees with different payrolls. We have various employees with different payslips, which is having a different status. So you can view these payslips, you can see each of the status, and you can view the payslip to approve or reject the same payslip. And the next option that we have under employee payslip management is the payslip for employees, which is going to be specific in terms of department. You can select a particular department and you can sort the employee in terms of department. To view the payslip, and once again, it takes you back to the same page where you can approve or reject the payslip. The payslip group is a place where you can add the employees or view the employees to the payslip group. Just like how it is available in the HR module, the finance person also has the privilege to add employees to these payslip groups. And the final thing that we have is a payslip report. You get to see a report of all the payslip that is being generated or approved or rejected. You can have a look at them by going for this option. You can see the total amount of all these. Apart from which, you can also see the total salary and the approved salary amount. You can take a report of all these. And the final thing that we have here is asset and liability. In asset and liability, as it remains the same, it's not going to add any finance report to the finance transaction, whereas it's going to act as a database where you can keep adding about your assets. You can keep adding the information by going for create, provide a title, add a name for your asset, and provide an amount here and save. So this is going to be viewed here, and you can have a look at your assets and take a PDF report of it. The same thing happens for liability. You can go for liability, create a liability, and view the liability right here. It's not going to add anywhere else, but as an institution, the admin can have a look at these data under assets and liability. So that's all about finance module. Thanks for listening.